Hi, my name's Miriam Lorie and I am a second year student on Maharat's Course Micha program. Welcome to Maharat's 10 Days of Torah for Shavuot. Today is day 4. We have all felt like outsiders at some point in our lives and it's a very uncomfortable feeling. On Shavuot, we read Megillat Rut, which is a book I love, and I think it's a book which understands the feeling of being an outsider. On the more superficial level, it's a beautiful rags to riches, at least rags to spiritual riches story. But I think there are lots of deeper layers that can be plumbed underneath. So today I'd like to share one more surface level insight, followed by some deeper plumbing. The surface level insight is really just how human our two protagonists, Naomi and Ruth, are. Desperately poor and without protection, Ruth would have looked obviously different as a Moabite. Maybe she even looked distinctively Moabite. And Naomi herself returns to Bethlehem from Moab in poverty and shame. They are at the very bottom of society. Naomi doesn't even bother shielding herself from the social scrutiny as she comes back in. She says the words, Ani malaya halachti v'reikam hashiveni Hashem lama tikra'ena li Naomi v'Hashem anabi v'Shaddai harali. I went away full and the Lord has brought me back empty. How can you call me Naomi when the Lord has dealt harshly with me, when Shaddai has brought misfortune upon me? What empathy with the underdog the Megillah gives us here. Okay, I'm going to read one more pasuk which happens a chapter or two later. I'll read it in English here, but this is where Ruth and Naomi are back in Bethlehem, and off Ruth goes to the field, and the pasuk says, off she went, she returned, and she gleaned in the fields behind the reapers, and as luck would have it, it was the piece of land belonging to Boaz, who was of Elimelech's family. On these words, she went, she returned, she gleaned, Rashi quotes a Gemara in Shabbat 113b, saying that she went back and forwards, marking the road so she knew how to get home. It just emphasizes what an outsider she was and the length she had to go to accommodate herself in this strange new place to even make a meager living. And then I'm also interested in the words that she happened upon the field of Elimelech, which in Hebrew are Vayiker Mikrea. She happened upon. One last comment on these words is that the root, kara, is the same as a root that we find very often in this coming week's Sedra of Bechukotai, and that word is keri. It's an unusual word. It never happens in the whole Tanakh other than in Bechukotai, and it's repeated at 1.7 times in one paragraph. And the repeated sense is that if we treat God with keri, not quite sure what it means, then God will return and treat us with keri. And we hear this whole list of curses that will befall us. What is this keri? It can be translated as all sorts of things, but the one that I like is randomness, offhandedness, from this same root as kara, chance, happenstance. And the idea is if we treat God in an offhanded way, a coincidental way, that will return to us. So I'm going to return to the Megillah to bring this all together. Coincidence can clearly be a positive thing, but I think only in the hands of God, who we hope will bring us to just the right metaphorical field, just like Ruth is brought to the right field at the right time. But when it comes to our actions, human actions, there's no room for keri. We've got to be intentional, just like Boaz was with Ruth. We see throughout the Megillah, Boaz disregards her social, economical, and racial status and sees a humanity in her and treats her with dignity. And that is how we need to be. No room for keri, only space for intentionality. So I hope this is the Torah that we can receive this Shavuot, to banish Kerry from our interactions with each other and with God, and to welcome Mikra, to welcome the happenstance, coincidental, fun openness to what God and the world will bring our way. Hag Sameach.